Last tube. It's Diane making my background. I've shown this quilt top before, but this week, what day was it? Today is the 18th. Yeah, Tuesday the 18th of May, 2019. And on Sunday, or was it Saturday? Anyway, whatever day it was, I took in my grad from this year, his quilt, the top to be long-armed, and also my red and white, the one with all the birds. And I've shown those in previous videos, but this one I made for one of my boys, and so I need to figure out how to get it quilted, because I like the piecing part of quilting, and so I've shown this one before. And Missouri Star Quilt Company was one of their tutorials, and I actually bought these 10-inch squares. Those are layer cakes. And then the corners there, because I snowballed the corners are little screws on a black background. But it was one of their tutorials that they did. I don't know exactly. They've done so many tutorials, I know, but it was one about snowballing and making it, it's roughly a twin size quilt. So that's the background, because you don't need to see my messy bookshelves. I'm kind of in the process of pulling books for homeschool, putting books up, and I am not an extremely organized person. People say I am, but I really don't feel like I am. So, y'all don't need to look at that mess. So, they said today is the 18th. Somebody commented that I had forgotten to talk about my oldest daughter, and they said something to the effect of, no news is good news, and that is very true. She is feeling really good. She just started her new job this week, or was it last week? I think it was last week she started her new job. It's a new position, so they really haven't defined exactly what she needs to do, so she's trying to figure it out. But overall, it's a good move for her. She'll be moving apartments again because she's had an issue with the apartment she moved in last month. But the apartment manager people are really nice, and they're going to move her, and things are good. So yes, if there was something to say, I would definitely tell you guys. But I thank you for thinking of her and remembering of last year. It was a long year. My Marine called last week, and he's going to be graduating from his MOS, his specialty school, by mid-July, I believe, or the end of July. He found out that his permanent duty station, which is kind of a joke considering the military, nothing's ever permanent, but he will be domestic, which I like. This mom really likes that he's going to be domestic and not halfway around the world. I don't begrudge him wanting to travel the world. It's a mom thing. But he will be domestic. He's happy with where they're putting him. I think there were 4 or 5 places that he could potentially have gone, and this one I think was number 2 of his choice, or 3, but it definitely wasn't the last one. So he's happy with this choice that the Corps has made for him. He'll be happy to actually be in the fleet, officially a Marine after 2.5 years, because he had injuries, and one was totally not his fault and the other one was his fault. So yeah, he's happy about that. So we won't see him till probably the end of July at the earliest. He might take some leave then, or take some leave the end of August, beginning of September, is what he's looking at. He's not sure, though. He has accrued enough leave. I think he's up to 35 days or something of leave. He's not going to take all of them at once at this point. But no, he's pretty happy with everything right now. So that's good. Other than that, I went to the doctor for my foot and discovered bone spurs. Yeah. It's always something. So I have to baby my foot, which means I'm trying to figure out sewing things, because it's my right foot, and I don't like wearing shoes when I sew. I know that's kind of weird, but I don't. So I gotta figure that out. Maybe I'll train my left foot, or I don't know. I had a machine that the cupboard had the pedal mounted, so you used your leg, your knee, instead of your foot. So maybe I have to do something like that. Because I have some projects I should really work on and get done. But the weather is actually cooperating, which is nice. I mean, it's still cool. Cooler than normal for us, even at this time of year. But last summer was hot all summer, and so it's kind of nice that it's cooler to start with. It's drying out somewhat, but we're still getting a lot of rain. And yeah, I had some other things that I'm not ready to talk about yet. But anyway, nothing. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. So let's talk stitching. I finished Stitch Mania, doing one state name a day, although to be honest, I worked ahead and worked on the blue area with the stars. And the piece that I used was this guy. One Nation by Bygone Stitches. This picture, no, it doesn't do this piece justice at all. I stitched this on 36 count vintage country mocha, and it calls for classic colorworks, and it gives you DMC alternatives. So when I kitted this up, I laid both on the fabric, and I used the DMC alternatives on this fabric, and I really, really like it because it is a finish. And so here it is. Here it is in all its glory. It is obviously a very large project. I think the frame that I have to get is at least a 24 by 14, or was it 12? Yeah, I'm going to be ordering a frame through pictureframes.com. I have it picked out. I just have to do the final measurement kind of stuff, and I think the frame is like $35. Not bad, and I can frame it myself from that point on. So I'm very happy that this one is done. And I screwed up on Arizona. On the R, I added an extra stitch, and of course it messed all this up, so I had to rip that out. Because of this one, I mean, I could fudge things, but this one, no, I couldn't fudge it. I will say, if you're stitching this, I encourage you, like, if you do a stripe, go do some of the stars, so that's not like the last thing you're doing, because yeah, it'll drive you a little nuts. But again, I use the DMC alternatives that are listed on the pattern. If I used a darker fabric or a different type of fabric, like the ale that's called for in the pattern, I probably would have used the called for colors. But yeah, it's done. The reason it has these wrinkles here is because I stitch in hand, so I kind of roll my fabric and it ends up getting a little squished. This will all iron out. I'm not worried about it. It'll all iron out, no problems. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to order that frame. I'm looking at ordering it by the end of this month. Maybe having it framed next month. And next month some stuff's going on, so I have to figure out how much time I have is what I have to figure out. So that is a finish. And then I was stitching these, simply winter, spring, winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And I'm stitching those all on the same piece of fabric, similar to what they show on the back of one of the patterns, but they started with autumn at the top. I put winter at the top. This is 36 count Fog by Picture This Plus. And this one is a finish also. I just finished this one up last night. So it's a narrow, I haven't measured it at all to know the exact size or anything, but again, I'm looking at kind of a blue, like this blue. This is Brethren Blue by Gentle Arts. That blue, or there was another color in here. I think the red would be too much for a frame. I'm not doing a matte. If I did a matte, the red would look great. But maybe a brown. But I really like the idea of a blue, the kind of beat up blue. That's what I'm looking at anyway. Let me pull this off of here so I can show you a little more detail. This one's definitely easier to show the detail. So this is winter, and I had this one done, I want to say December, January, probably January. And didn't stitch up, it stitched up very quickly. I did not use all the called for colors. I did use all over dyed cottons except for the white, which is B5200. Everything else is in over dyed cotton in the entire piece. It may be the called for and it may not. I do have it written down somewhere. But winter, this one has one specialty stitch, which is the Smyrna cross, which is the snowflakes. Everything else is a cross stitch and or a back stitch. Then we have Simply Spring. And again, all over dyeds. Probably not necessarily the called for, but something similar. The flowers you see in the trees, it's going to focus. Those are satin stitched. Other than that, it's all cross stitch, back stitching. This is Simply Summer. This might be my favorite one. I don't know. I like all four of them a lot. There's satin stitching in the bees and in the bee skep. Otherwise, it's basic cross stitch and back stitch. And then the one I finished last night, Autumn, the satin stitching in the leaves. Autumn is my favorite time of year anyway. But I don't know exactly which one would be my favorite. But the pumpkin color is terracotta. That's the only one I made sure was the called for color was the one I used. Because on the pictures, that was the one you could see the variegation in. But I used all over dyes. And I have, let's say I used Gentle Arts, I used Weeks, Classic Colorworks, Carrie's Creation Cottons. I didn't use any Threadworks or others. Those are the ones I used in there. If somebody really wants to know what they are, I can let you know. But I like how it turned out. Now I just have to get the frame, because that can be up all year long. So next pile haul, I bought myself some thread drops and some needles, and a ring, because we all need those. I had a piece of 36 count Edinburgh flax. This is for Sweet Humility Sampler, which I have not started, obviously. I also ordered a piece of fabric for my Savior's Praise, and Stitchville called and said it was in, so I will have the opportunity this Saturday to pick it up. And then I got this issue, and this one, I didn't realize this one was Arlene's. I knew she had a Christmas ornament in here that I really like. This one there are actually ones. This is Arlene's. This is Arlene's Christmas ornament. Isn't that pretty? And this is so nice. You could do any color combination and it would just be stunning. This is stitched on 32 count navy Belfast with silver as the main color of the thread. But you can easily switch those colors out and it'll be a stunning design no matter how you stitch it. So that one I'm going to be stitching. And then Kelly showed a little one. Oh, yep, there it is. I do like the one on the front. I don't have boxes and stuff sitting around. Because when I see stuff like that, I think, oh man, my boys would use it as a football. This one, Kelly showed this one, and that's just adorable. That one is by Nicoletta Ferrato of Nikki's Creations. But yeah, this one, there were more of a variety than that's also by Nicoletta. The recent magazines up to this point seem to all be the same pattern over and over again, and that just doesn't interest me. This one's by Carolyn Manning. They've talked about this in the group on Facebook. I like the colors. They're very bright. I don't know. I could see taking little motifs out and making little ornaments. They would be so cute. And then this one is beautiful. By Alicia Novoselova. I'm believing Russian, Eastern European. Very different style. But yeah, those are the ones that really caught my eye. And Arlene's Christmas ornament, that one's definitely on my to-do list. And then I had the opportunity, well, the Nora Corbett lily pad, pond lily, and lily pad, right? Lily pad, Sprite, and pond lily. Although I see her in a pink dress instead of a blue one. These are the new formats that the Pixies are supposed to be coming out in. I don't know if I like it or not. I haven't stitched from it yet. It's the first time I had this kind of format. I will say I do like the colors that they used, and they kept the Mirabilia kind of swirls in there. And it's a little thicker cardboard. Even though it's glossy, it's not so glossy as blinding. So yeah, I'll have to see if I like that type of format. I guess they're going to do all of the smaller ones in that size. This one's Fiberlicious that I just received yesterday. Cobblestone. 32 count. And it's, ooh, that is turning out nice. That is pretty true color, actually. Nice neutral. Kind of a blue-gray color with some brown thrown in. So, I gotta find something to stitch that on, or stitch on it. And then when I had a chance to go to Stitch In at Stitchville, they passed around some charts from the clearance section around the table. And this one by Not Forgotten Farm jumped into my hands, a sepia sampler, although honestly, I do not like the fabric they stitched it on. They're all DMC colors, and I do like the colors that they chose to get that sepia feel, but I do not like the fabric. So, yeah, and it's not a huge 5.5 by 8, but I thought that was really cute. And then this one by Lottie Da, this one really grabbed me, the colors did. Again, you can do it in needlepoint silk if you want, but they also have DMCs listed. And that one I thought was cute. And then this one also was in the clearance section. Lottie Da Virtue. Then when I went to go pay for these before they closed out for the night, something else jumped in my cart. This is Chessie and Me Grand Old Flag Sampler. I love that. Yep. And this one, Friends of the Mill Sampler. Again, flag. It's a little different colors on like the house and stuff. This is, I think, more traditional, patriotic, and this is a little bit different. It calls for sampler threads, and I have not decided how I'm going to do it. This one gives you DMC alternatives. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, those jumped into my cart. Well, you don't really have a cart at Stitchville. I think that would be dangerous. But other whips I have stitched on. This one I pulled last night and got a little bit in after I finished that other one. And it is Lady Liberty by Brenda Gervais. It's this one. I know there are a number of Lady Liberties running around out there. I think Brenda Gervais has a couple more with that same name. This is 36 count aged saffron from Dames of the Needle. I got this one in San Antonio, oh no, not San Antonio, Comfort, Texas, when I went to the Tinsmith's wife last year when I went to the Mirabile retreat. So I added all the red. So the white here is her skirt and then the red. And on this one, I am not necessarily using the called for colors, particularly the Valdani colors. I pulled from my stash of overdyes. I think everything is overdyed that I'm going to be using. So that one I pulled out. And this one I stitched on when I needed a break from the One Nation project. It is this one, Bloom of Hope. I've stitched this once in violets for my daughter, and I don't have it framed yet. I did pick a frame out, I think. Didn't I? I think I picked a frame out, and I just have to do the final measurements. This one I'm stitching it again, except I am stitching it in pinks, not the called for, because they call for water lilies. I'm using Soie Crystal, which is more of a, this reads solid. The colors read solid. Where water lilies tends to be variegated, Soie Crystal Silk, 12 ply, Karen collection, they tend to read solid. There is some slight variegation in them, but they tend to read solid from a distance. So that's what I'm using. And the ribbon is DMC color, although I'm tempted just to, the flower is all silk, and I think I might just do the ribbon in silk and the green in the called for DMCs. But I am cutting out the words, so I'm shrinking the frame to focus on the flower. And it's working. I don't know the final count, stitch count or anything. And I think that it calls for 28 count cashel linen. Because that is what I bought, is the called for fabric. Water lily Jobelin, excuse me. It's 28 count water lily, and it's Jobelin. I made a working copy, so I've been marking off my working copy. And here is where I'm at. The lightest color is done. So the border involves the medium and the darker color, and so does the flower. So I'm working on that. I think that'll be a nice little thing. So those are what I've stitched on. I don't know if I've stitched every day in June, because I mean, you get busy and life happens. But the days I stitch, this is what I've stitched. Okay, Stormy. I'm away from people. People are not around me. You're okay, puppy. So I had a giveaway last video, and I picked the winners off camera because I'm not doing editing. I'm lazy. And so for the monthly angel series, where I have these Flowers of the Month Angels by Joan Elliott. Yes, Joan Elliott, not Jane Elliott. Joan Elliott, and I have all of them except November. I don't know why. They released December by itself in one issue, and then every issue after that there were 2 angels delivered. Or, yeah. So I wonder if they started with December, if November I missed that issue or something, but nothing on here says the month, so nobody's gonna know. But I will make sure that you have all the months that I have. Again, I don't have November. And that is going to go to Nostalgic Needleworker, whose favorite flower is peonies, which by far won. Everybody, a lot of people liked peonies. So Nostalgic Needleworker, the monthly Flower of the Month Angel series by Joan Elliott, will be coming to you. I tore them out of magazines that I had, and I will put them in an envelope. My email address will be below. It's just mondotstitches@gmail.com, but it'll be below, and just let me know your snail mail address. And for the barefoot angels, these guys, I have all 12 months of those. They're by Curtis Boehringer, if that's how you say it. And her favorite was also peonies, is Sandy Alcantara. I hope I said your name correctly. So the barefoot angels, again, email me below. And then for the seasonal Joan Elliott angels, including, yeah, 'cause like here's the autumn angel. There's 6 angels in that. There's Christmas angel, angel of love, spring angel, angel of the night, summer angel, and autumn angel. Plus the angel of cross stitch, the 391 color version, because I know she's updated it since this was released, goes to Kitty Stitcher over in England. Freesia, I hope I said that correctly, is her favorite flower. It was her grandmother's favorite flower, so it's hers. So Nostalgic Needleworker, Sandy Alcantara, and Kitty Stitcher. If you guys can email me, my email will be listed in the description box. It's just mondotstitches@gmail.com, really easy. And give me your snail mail address, and my goal will be to have those in the mail to you by the end of the month, which I should be able to pretty easily. And then I'm going to do another Pass the Stash. This one, Sonata by Abby Lane Designs. It's all in one color. I should have brought it down to show you. I have it stitched and it's actually hanging on my wall upstairs. I stitched it using the Gloriana Silk floss, and I only needed 1 skein because I used 1 strand. But yeah, it turned out really nice. So that is number 1. Number 2 is Summer Garden by Country Cottage Needleworks. This one I don't have FFO'd, but I do have it stitched. And it is a lot bigger than you think it is. And then Nothing But the Blood by My Big Toe Designs. Again, I have this one stitched. I don't have it FFO'd yet. So those are the 3 I'm going to pass along. And question that you're going to answer. Well, Sonata, what kind of music do you like? You could say a favorite singer, a favorite type of music. I tend to like to be able to hear the words. I don't know if I have a favorite singer. I'll have to think on that. But this will be open until my next video, or the video after that one. Think of mid-July, till mid-July. If you would like Sonata, now if you just say your favorite music, you'll be entered to all 3. Or you can say Sonata. You can say Garden. And you could say Blood. So if you want a specific one. Otherwise you'll be entered to all 3. And don't say giveaway or anything like that in your comment, or it'll be deleted. But I do thank you all for watching and subscribing and thumbs up, and it's really, really a great community. Yeah, and I've been watching your videos, and I just really love this community. So, Garden, Sonata, which I think this one might be out of print, and Nothing But the Blood. Those are the 3 that I'm going to pass this time. And again, I'll ship anywhere. So I will let you all go. Safe travels if you're having safe travels. I hope you have good weather, because this year has been just nuts everywhere. And I will talk to you all later.